Alright, good day everyone. It's Sunday, Atlanta race in NASCAR going on right now. But what we're going to be doing is making another video about the rule book, or about the material that is from the rule book. Before we went over generic approved competition models for both 1991 and 2003 rule books. Next, what I promised to cover for you guys last time was car bodies requirements, and that is section 20.21, car bodies. It's hard to zoom in. Anyway, let me read this one out real quick, and it all starts with the engine, even though it's car bodies, but it says that you have to have a minimum of 350 cubic inch and a maximum of 358 cubic inch displacement V8, and the compression ratio must not exceed 12:1. So before we even got to any body requirements, it talks about 12:1 compression ratio and the size of the engine. So as once again, the engine is more important than the chassis, as I said in the A1 edit. Just start with the engine first. This is a logical step. See how right here in the book they mention the engines before they even talk about the chassis. Now the interesting part that I want to mention right here is what I was able to find in relation to fields 6 and 7 in the editor. That's for a buddy of mine that we're editing physics together, Mr. Underground. Dimensions I found on those fields so far, I've been looking in the rule book, and one thing that I found is right here. The car body must be located so when measured horizontally from rearward of the center of the roof at the windshield seam, the distance will be 60 inches plus minus from the vertical center line of the rear axle housing. Anyway, here's the time you can read this for yourself. Basically, what they mean. It is much easier for me if I draw this one out. There it goes. Rear axle housing. And the center of rear axle housing will be right here, in the middle of the rear axle. Now what they mean when they say measured horizontally, that means, give me 1 second. Alright, then I am back on. Basically, measured horizontally, what they mean, if you make a center line going straight down like that, that's your measurement point number 1. Then they talk about the roof. Measured from the center of the roof, so the center of the roof and the top of the windshield seam is this guy right here, the point where the windshield meets the roof, about that. So what they talk about is this, the distance between this point right here and the horizontal line of the center line of the rear axles should be about 60 inches plus minus ½ inch. So that is how they mount the body to the frame. Let's say you have your wheel size and you have your frame height, right? How high is your frame? And this is your wheel radius. Now, how do you know how high is your body and how far it is and where it is in terms of location to the wheels? In 2003 NASCAR racing series right here, what they want you to do is mount this point right here 60 inches away from the center of the rear line. That's one thing that I found. Another thing that I kept looking, and I'm rushing a little bit forward with this, is doors. That's another thing that I wanted to mention. And this one is a little bit more realistic. When measuring across the body from the top of the door panel at the bottom of the door window opening, blah blah blah, minimum distance of 66 inches, the maximum of 67 at the A post, and 64 to 65 at the B post. Anyway, these numbers, 67 inches and 65, what they talk about is the width of the car, just like you told me, Mr. Underground, you know, between the doors. Like, I mean, if this was the windshield, whatever. Anyway, what they say, 66 inches to 67 and about 65 at the B post. I think the A post is right here. I believe this would be the A post and this would be the B post. Anyway, this is proving about the overall width of the car, kind of like that. These are the dimensions. This is what I wanted Mr. Underground Physics to take a look at, and this is one confirmation of that we might be dealing with the overall width of the body is right here, 66 to 67 inches. I'll do the metric conversions to make sure that the numbers line up, but so far this is how in real life in NASCAR 2003 season they wanted you to mount the body to the frame using this distance right here. Now in the 1991 rulebook they want you to do it differently. There's a different procedure of measurement of how they want you to get this done in the 1991 modified rulebook. I will cover that briefly in the next video. For now, not to make it too long, I hope it was entertaining for some of you gearheads that like, more technical stuff about NASCAR. And I'll see you next time. It was Sunday, Atlanta race 2017. Peace.